Greetings friends, Jared here with another review from Fanboys Forever, and today we're going to be taking a look at the HasCon exclusive, would have been SDCC if the world hadn't went crazy, Ghostbusters, Tully's Terrible Night from Hasbro Pulse. So I'm really excited about taking a look at this, guys. So with that being said, let's have a look at the box. I like how the box is made to look like the Ghostbusters outfit itself. It's like an extreme zoom in where we can almost see the little textiles sewn together. There's a name tag as if his name was Tully's Terrible Night. There is a zipper up here, which is kind of a neat touch. And there's just kind of stitching all the way around. And I like how the Ghostbusters logo is actually like a sewn on patch. Nothing is like raised or anything, but it certainly gives the impression that it is. Love this great artwork on the side of Rick Moranis. On the back, we don't really get too much. We just have some copyright info and more the Ghostbusters symbol. And on the side, we have some of the Proton Pack imagery. And let's go ahead and raise the slip cover. Let's see what's inside. There we go. And on the inside of the box, it's kind of hard with studio lights to get a good look this way. But we have Louis Tully himself, looking like he's a little bit scared and running away from this terror dog, just like in the movie. I also kind of like the weird Art Deco sort of look with the background. And we can see Gozer's tower back there and different silhouettes of the buildings, the swirling clouds. It's really a nice presentation. On the side, now once you take the box off, the terror dog has appeared beside of Louis. We also get a fun accessory with his helmet when they're running all the tests on poor old Louis. And then we have the actual scene of him running through Central Park to get away from the terror dog. Not sure about you guys, but in terms of raw laughs, this part of the movie may make me laugh the hardest, actually, in the original Ghostbusters when Louis is having such a terrible evening getting away from this thing. So let's open it up. It's probably worth noting that as I open it up, I realized that if you wanted to, you could just keep it like this. You can see the figures are pretty easily viewable like this, and everything's just kind of out in the open. But then there's the whole matter of this big cardboard piece, so that's kind of weird. Also, this is something I had really never seen before in a figure. There was a little bit of negative space in there where this didn't really fill out the box, and they had this crammed in there, and it almost looks like the art test that they do for like sample packaging, where it's got all the different colors on the inside to make sure everything's printing right. So how weird. All right, now that we have Louis Tully out of his packaging with his terror dog, let's go ahead and take a closer look. First things first, we'll just have a close look at the sculpting of the figure. And there's no doubt about it. This is instantly recognizable as Rick Moranis. If you need me, I'll be working on my Barney Rubble custom. No, seriously though, this is a very recognizable likeness of Rick Moranis. It is certainly right in line with the other Plasma Series figures in terms of that same look. They are using the digital paint print technology, I think, to the fullest extent, and I think it works out really well. The teeth are a very natural, kind of beigey sort of tone, which is something that usually figure companies just don't get right, and so they end up looking very natural. The eyebrows don't just look like they are paint applications, as eyebrows tend to. With this new digital print technology, it seems like that they can be a little more subtle with things like that. And I really like how they handled the glasses. I don't believe that there are any kind of frames in them. I think they're just open, and I think that that works out definitely in their favor. They're just sculpted right onto the face. You can see that there's flesh on the inside, that flesh tone, and it creates a really nice illusion that he's wearing glasses because you can't see out of the sides, you know, that would usually give that away. So it looks like his face is being magnified along with the glasses. So I actually think that works in their favor here. I like what they did with the hair. The hair probably could have used a little bit of a wash. I definitely like the sculpt of it, but you know, there's not a whole lot of variance in terms of paint. You can just see where the glasses go right there. They're not removable as far as I can tell because I'm pretty sure they're just a solid part of the sculpt. The lip paint is very subtle, and I'm really liking all these different angles. Now, it is important to note that you're not going to get a standard Rick Moranis head sculpt with this. This is definitely the Keymaster all the way. This is, you know, the possessed version. There is no alternate head. I was really hoping that there would be an alternate head, and to be honest, I wasn't exactly sure if it came with one or not because I really hadn't done my homework too much. But no, there isn't anything like that. We can see that he's just in his outfit, his kind of disheveled party outfit that he was attempting to wear. You have this as like a separate rubber piece where it's just kind of like his shirt has come untucked. So I think that looks really good. You have the belt here. You can see the loops on the belt. You can see the shirt comes out on the back. This is a little flexible, so it doesn't hinder articulation all that much. You can see the sleeves and all the folds are just kind of sculpted in. Then you have his tiny little legs down here, just some slack sculpted on there. And then, of course, we have his regular old dress shoes down there. So in terms of sculpting, I think that it is a very convincing Tully from the first movie when he's running through Central Park and being terrorized by the terror dogs. So I definitely think that this works for that look. In terms of paint, honestly, there's not a whole lot going on. Mostly Louis is a lot of just different shades of plastic put together. You don't see any of the striping on the shirt that we had seen with like the Mattel version or anything like that. Everything is just kind of left to the imagination there. So the pants, once again, just totally just that plastic color. Closest we get to paint applications are on the belt with the belt loops. And that's really kind of it. Maybe the shirt piece on the inside is just a painted piece, and then the paint applications on the face. And that's it. Practically everything else is plastic. So I would have liked to have seen some sort of shading or wash or something to have brought out some of those other details. We can't talk about the sculpt anymore without getting onto something that is either a big plus for you or maybe it's a minus for you. And that is the height of the figure. Now, you may already be able to tell by seeing him beside of the terror dog here, but he is very, very, very short. I mean, surprisingly short, as a matter of fact. So I can take and let's go ahead and let's put Ray beside of him here, and you'll see what I mean. Really, he is a pretty short figure, all things considered. He's probably almost a head shorter than Ray. Now, it is important to note, though, that Rick Moranis stands, I believe, I looked it up, and according to what I was able to find, maybe about 5'6". So he is a little bit on the shorter side. So I do like that they honor that height difference when you have just about, I would say, at least a half a foot difference here. And part of this is, have a look. He's actually sculpted to be bent over just a little bit in kind of that posture. And there's no articulation point to kind of dissuade that. So he is hunched over slightly. And I think that ends up adding to it even more. So to my eye, maybe he is slightly short for Rick Moranis' actual height. I'm not sure if there should be that much of a difference, but I think it ends up coming off okay. I think the height difference is all right, but maybe I would say that he should have stood maybe to about there or so. But it's not too far off, but it is worth noting. Let's go over articulation really quick. He has most of the articulation you might expect, but there are a couple of differences between he and the other Ghostbusters. So you can see that he can take his head way down, which I really appreciate, and he can go way back. So you can get all sorts of stuff, and this is some of the best range I've seen from Hasbro when it comes to just one, there's just a dumbbell joint in there, and that's it. There's no hinges or anything making this work. I wish their other dumbbells would do what this does. So much tilt. So this is really, really a good thing when it comes to what you can get out of the head. So you can do just about anything a human head would be capable of doing, including 360. Yes, every action figure reviewer must tell you that. It could go 360. Did you know that, guys? Anyway, the arms can go all the way around. You can see that we can get over a 90-degree angle with the arm going that way because there's a hinge. We get a single jointed elbow, but it is a really good single joint. Very effective. Has plenty of range in there. There is a cut that the elbow can go all the way around. There is a hinge on the wrist, and the hinge can, and of course the wrist can rotate all the way around. We also get waist swivel, but that's it. This is a solid piece under here, so you're not going to be able to finagle it anymore or do anything different with it. That's just about what it can do. You can get the splits almost with Louis. He can go about that far, so that he can impress all the girls at the party with his moves. We do get a thigh cut right there. You can see the pants are very much sculpted for it to be aligned that way. We also get a double jointed knee, so he can really get into those crazy running poses as he's trying to get away from the terror dog in Central Park. We also get plenty of pivot down here at the ankle, and not much of a hinge, so he can just kind of do a little bit of that. But it's plenty enough to get what you need to get. But there is some QC issues that you definitely want to be aware of. Because of his dynamic posing in the box, you may already be able to tell that this leg is warped outwards slightly because they had him in too much of a dynamic pose. And this happens, of course, when these figure companies try to do this. The best thing you can do is, of course, put it in some kind of hot water, flex it to what you like, and then put it in cold water, and it should cure right up to be what you need it to be. But I'm not here to show you a fixed or altered product. I'm here to show you exactly what I got out of the box. Overall, I really think that he has plenty of great effective articulation, and I think it really works for everything he needs to be able to do. Switching over before we talk more about Louis a little bit later in comparisons, we have our terror dog. Now, this is exactly what you've come to expect. This is the exact same thing as the Build-A-Figure that we got from the Plasma series. So for that reason, I'm not going to spend too long on it, except to admire all the nice little details. All the teeth are very cleanly painted, so are the horns and the eyes. There's kind of a red shininess to the eyes, so I like that. It sort of almost simulates how they glowed in the movie. On the top, we have the little horns painted. There's a lot of silver on the back. And I know that there's silver present in the actual beast in the movie, but I sort of think they overdo it here, and I thought the same thing on the original version. Down here, we have all sorts of great sculpting on the lower body. Same for the neck and the sides right there. And on the back, we have the tail and all the hindquarters and everything like that. And there's horns and claws down here as well. There's plenty of great articulation on this guy as well. He's pretty much just as articulated as one of the figures in the line, so I think that's really nice. You can see that we have a hinge here, and the arms can go way out because of it. And we also have full swivel at all of the arms. We do have a single jointed hinge at this elbow and a rotation. We do get a hinge here at the paw, I guess you'd say, including some rotation. On the back, we do not get any kind of hinge or anything in the knee, so that's a shame. And we only get a little bit of a swivel back here with very little motion any other way. But we do get a hinge. We actually get two hinges. We get one up here and one down here with rotation at both points at the foot. So there's plenty of range at the bottom, just none up here in this bend. And of course, the head is able to do whatever you want it to do. You can go pretty far back, pretty far down, to the side. It's all because of this very flexible dumbbell on the inside. And side by side, I think these guys look really cool together. I think the scale is just about right for what we saw in the movie. I think Louis looks appropriately terrified and, of course, sort of possessed at this point in the movie. So I think it looks really great. Let's get the most boring comparison out of the way first. We have the Terror Dog that was just the Build-A-Figure that came with the first wave of Plasma series. Well, we hope it's just the first wave. Hopefully there's more to come. Maybe we'll get those Ghostbusters 2 gray jumpsuit repaints. And if you didn't believe me before, they are exactly the same thing. I see no differences. They should be exactly the same thing. I would have been very frustrated if they weren't. The truth is, we needed two Terror Dogs. I wasn't exactly sure how we were going to do that without rebuying an entire wave. I'm really glad that they came up with this solution because we needed to, so it works out very well. There is, count 'em, one, that's right, one whole accessory. And this is the helmet that they strap over Louis's head in the movie. And I think they very faithfully recreated all the funny little wires and gizmos and things. And they even have the chin strap on there. This is when the Ghostbusters are trying to figure out what's wrong with Louis and why he's acting the way he is. I think it looks really cool. It's certainly a great rendition of that. I wish that maybe the plastic didn't look so matte and there was maybe some silver paint application. I think that would have looked a little bit better. Let's just see how that looks. Of course, it fits right over the figure. And I love how it actually looks on the head sculpt. I think it's sculpted perfectly to go around the chin. And I'll be hard-pressed not to just keep him looking like this. Of course, I think that scene is one of the funniest in the entire movie. Yes, have some. I think it looks great all the way around, too. I know the hair is really poofy under there, but I think they maybe slightly oversized the helmet to accommodate the big kind of tuft of hair. So I think it ends up looking really neat. So while I've got Louis's helmet on, this might be a good time to do a comparison with Mattel's version of this same look. Now, if you remember, Mattel did theirs, and it was also an exclusive, and it was an alternate head. So let's just see how these two stack up to each other. It's very interesting because it's not just like a cut and dry kind of thing. The new one is a more authentic Rick Moranis likeness. But then you have things like the paint applications. And I would have to say that paint applications, when it comes to the outfit, because you actually have painted buttons and stripes and things of that nature, and even the helmet itself, I really do think the paint applications were a little stronger on the old Mattel release. They even have kind of a shininess to the lines going down. And I think it really looked nice in the paint department. But because of the much, much stronger Rick Moranis likeness and sculpt here, and of course the body itself looks so much more accurate to Rick Moranis, you have this, and it's almost like a really kind of long legs, like too long for Rick Moranis, and it's kind of a bean Polish sort of looking chest. And then with the new one, they have more of the proportionality, I think, correct here. Now, I just think in terms of a silhouette, I think the silhouette is just more what you see in the movie, with the exception of maybe the legs being maybe a little short. But I think that overall, the new one does indeed capture that look of Rick Moranis quite a bit better than the Mattel version. Especially, like I said, with the head sculpt. You have kind of a caricature of Rick Moranis over here, and we have something that more puts you in the mind of the actual actor over there. It's sort of like an animated version here, and a much more kind of realistic version over here. So yeah, even though deco is a little bit better here, sculpt and the combination of just the silhouette, I think it just works better. So the original Mattel version has an alternate head rather than a removable helmet, and I think this is where we'll get the better look at the likenesses. So let's see what each company did with the Rick Moranis head. And it's plain to see already that there is quite a difference in the quality of the sculpt here. This definitely looks like a cartoony sort of version of Rick Moranis. I could definitely, you know, as long as you told me who it was supposed to be, I would say, okay, yeah, I get it. All right, yeah, I guess I can see that. But this is definitely much more instantly recognizable to me as Rick Moranis. So I definitely know that even the collar here, the way that the fabric is sculpted on top of each other, the way they do it here isn't nearly as effective as the overlay piece combined with the under sculpted shirt. And I think that sculpting, even with the proportions of this upper chest, where he's so skinny in this upper chest and then he kind of gets a little wider down at the gut, I think this is much more accurate to how he appears in the movie. But I think it's really interesting to see how both companies handled this. And man, those thick glasses never did those Mattel sculpts any favors. I think without that, and if the eyes had been painted a little more realistically, I think this would be a much closer comparison. But I really like what Hasbro was able to do with their sculpt here. It would be probably criminal, though, for me not to mention that the Mattel one definitely had better accessories. For one thing, they included accessories, whereas the new Hasbro one just has a helmet. You have things like this, and let's just see if it can, yeah, you just put it right on there. No problem. It actually looks a lot better on this guy. And then he also comes with a piece of pizza, and he even comes with the funny popcorn. It's funny, but you can sort of scavenge the old accessories, and you can kind of vulture those and use them for the new one, and it works just as well. So, you know, if you're like me and you're a long-time fan of Ghostbusters and you've been buying all these different companies' products, hey, mix and match. I mean, look what I did. It's in the background. You have some of Mattel's old diorama props, so there you go. One fun comparison we can do is Zool and the Keymaster here. I love how the paint applications match when it comes to their possessed eyes. I think that they end up looking really, really great together. And for those scenes in the movie where he's so out of it and she's with him, I think that this, I mean, you just look at this, and with the two terror dogs and everything like that, it just brings those scenes to mind immediately. So I think nostalgia achieved. So great job, Hasbro. And congratulations on cracking the Sigourney Weaver head sculpt, by the way. I never did a review of the figure on the channel, but you guys did better than NECA did when it came to getting that Sigourney Weaver head sculpt just right, at least on some of their figures. Some of them are quite good. The Alien 3 Sigourney Weaver likeness is really quite nice. And of course, we'll get Gozer in there as well. She's having a hard time standing right now with him. But of course, here's Gozer along with the Keymaster. So I think that they look really good together. And once again, it's those red eyes, I think, that kind of tie them together. And of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't put her alongside the now complete 2 Terror Dogs. So we have the whole Gozer family going strong. And here we have a special look at the adults table at the Gozer family barbecue. So I have to say, I think this is a nice little set. I know that when Hasbro first announced it, I was really pleased to see that they had found a creative way for us to get the other Terror Dog while also rounding out that original movie's cast. I suppose that Peck would be the only other major character needed for that human cast of the original movie, and hopefully they will find a way to get Peck out. But I know that this guy was probably the slowest seller when it comes to the PulseCon exclusive stuff, and that really shouldn't be surprising to anyone. I mean, this is essentially a scared man running around in disheveled shirt from a giant Terror Dog that people had already gotten as a Build-A-Figure, and of course, this one is really only for the completionists out there, the people who were going to get Louis Tully no matter what, the people who wanted another Terror Dog and were already trying to figure out how to buy another set of figures so they could build another one. This is perfect for you if you're in that situation. This figure is also a real treat when it comes to recreating some of your favorite scenes from that original movie. For me, particularly when they check Louis out and he's wearing the helmet and stuff, and he's totally out of his mind. It's still one of the funniest things to me in the whole movie. Further emphasizes why I think it just is awful about Rick Moranis getting just punched for no reason the other day. You may have seen that in the news. It's just so unfortunate, and I think it says a lot about 2020 and kind of the trajectory we've been on through the last few months. But you know what? I wish Rick the best, and I hope that he's fully recovered and he's doing great. He really is a gift to the industry, and I think this figure comes at a good time to kind of remind us just how hilarious he is and how much we miss his presence in these movies. Guys, that'll do it for me. I hope you've enjoyed the special look at the PulseCon exclusive Louis Tully and Terror Dog set. I suppose if there was anything I could change about it, I wish that there would have been a couple of more accessories. I would have appreciated if they would have tried to have matched what Mattel had done at the very least. And I really would have appreciated it if we had gotten a standard head for Louis. And I hope that that means that maybe they're looking at just doing a standard issue release, maybe that has just the regular head. And of course, I would be very happy to get a Ghostbusters 2 release where he is the Ghostbusters lawyer. That would be absolutely terrific. But other than the lack of accessories and alternate head, I really do like what they did. And of course, let me know down in the comments what you would have liked to have seen in the figure. And let me know what you think about the comparison between the Mattel one and this new one from Hasbro. Do you see the same thing I see, where the sculpt is just a lot stronger, and maybe the Mattel one had a little bit better paint applications and, of course, much better accessories? Or do you see something a little different? Anyway, guys, I hope that this review has been fun and informative for you. Of course, we would appreciate each and every one of you that could possibly subscribe. You know, YouTube is a strange business, and really the only satisfaction we get from making these videos is just getting to see how many people are enjoying them. So, of course, we don't want you to miss any of our videos. We do tour reviews of all sorts of different things. So the best way to keep up with us is to subscribe, and who knows, maybe we'll get to do some more Ghostbusters videos in the future. Till then, guys, as always, take care of yourselves, be safe out there, and God bless each and every one of you. Till next time, I'll see you on Fanboys Forever. Later.